Good morning. I'm just going to pretend that I didn't disappear for a few days. Starting with a new dialogue today. I looked at the Greek because I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. And I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, but the Greek seemed to be Menexenus. It's definitely X. Menexenus, something like that. Menexenus. Socrates speaks. Whence come you, Menexenus? Are you from the Agora? Yes, Socrates. I have been at the council. And what might you be doing at the council? And yet I need hardly ask, for I see that you, believing yourself to have arrived at the end of education and of philosophy, and to have had enough of them, are mounting upward to higher things still, and though rather young for the post, are intending to govern us elder men, like the rest of your family, which has always provided someone who kindly took care of us. O Socrates. Menexenus. Yes, Socrates, I shall be ready to hold office, if you allow and advise that I should, but not if you think otherwise. I went to the council chamber because I heard that the council was about to choose someone who was to speak over the dead. For you know that there is to be a public funeral. Yes, I know. And whom did they choose? No one. They delayed their election until tomorrow, but I believe that either... Oh, I didn't look this up. Arcinus or Deon will be chosen. Let me look at the Greek. Beer. Not the right one. How is it possible? Oh, never mind. I'll just pronounce it wrongly. They delayed the election on tomorrow, but I believe that either Arcinus or Dion will be chosen. Oh, Menexenus. Death in battle is certainly in many respects a noble thing. The dead man gets a fine and costly funeral, although he may have been poor, and an elaborate speech is made over him by a wise man who has long ago prepared what he has to say, although he who is praised may not have been good for much. The speakers praise him for what he has done and for what he has not done. That is the beauty of them, and they steal away our souls with their embellished words. In every conceivable form they praise the city, and they praise those who died in war, and all our ancestors who went before us, and they praise ourselves also who are still alive, until I feel quite elevated by their laudations. And I stand listening to their words, Menexenus, and become enchanted by them. And all in a moment I imagine myself to have become a greater and nobler and finer man than I was before. And if, as often happens, there are any foreigners who accompany me to the speech, I become suddenly conscious of having a sort of triumph over them, and they seem to experience a corresponding feeling of admiration at me, and at the greatness of the city, which appears to them, when they are under the influence of the speaker, more wonderful than ever. This consciousness of dignity lasts me more than 3 days, and not until the 4th or 5th day do I come to my senses and know where I am. In the meantime I have been living in the Isle of the Blessed, since such is the art of our rhetoricians, and in such manner does the sound of their words keep ringing in my ears. Now Socrates is obviously, because he is Socrates, saying this with his tongue, with tongue in the not his tongue, with the tongue in the cheek. Somewhat, at least. But maybe it's just me, but I do want to believe that he does also mean it. Again, projecting. Socrates was known for being able to be carried away by his own thoughts, that he could just stand in one place and think or dream. We don't really know. We say think, but maybe he was just daydreaming. And I think that ability also would entail the ability to be swept away, truly swept away by words or by crowds and by the moment. So I don't think he's completely lying or being completely ironic. Well, he's being ironic, but not in the sense that he's lying. He's telling the truth, which apparently is what irony does. But knowing how silly he is for, yes, that's irony. He's telling the truth. He probably really gets swept away by people's words and praises and these laudations. But he knows how silly he is for allowing him to be swept away. And now it's me projecting. I don't think he minds. I think he enjoys it, being lost in the Isle of the Blessed for a few days because of the magnificence of someone's words and what they said. He's playing. Socrates is playing. Whatever else is happening here, Socrates is playing, that's for sure. Menexenus. The emphasis is on the second E. So M-E-N and then an emphasis E and then X and then enos. Menexenus. You're always making fun of the rhetoricians, Socrates. This time, however, I am inclined to think that the speaker who is chosen will not have much to say, for he has been called upon to speak at a moment's notice, and he will be compelled almost to improvise. Oh, I can feel how Socrates... When I read the intro, I wasn't really enthusiastic about reading this dialogue because it says it's one of the lesser ones. But I love it, the playfulness in it, because I can feel how this is tempting Socrates to do what he is about to do. Socrates, but why, my friend? Should he not have plenty to say? Every rhetorician has speeches ready-made, nor is there any difficulty in improvising that sort of stuff. Had the orator to praise Athenians among Peloponnesians or Peloponnesians amongst Athenians, he must be a good rhetorician who could succeed and gain credit. But there is no difficulty in a man winning applause when he is contending for fame among the persons whom he is praising. Yeah. There is no difficulty in a man winning applause when he is contending for fame among the persons whom he is praising. Oof. I have this innate fear that because I am often optimistic in my words and I tend to come across as giving compliments, though that's not my intention. I always fear that people think that I'm praising them to win their approval or their warmth or their positive attitude towards me. I do hope I'm able to say negative things when I need to. Do you think not, Socrates? Certainly not. Do you think that you could speak yourself if there should be a necessity, and if the council were to choose you, O Menexenus is stepping right into it? That I should be able to speak is no great wonder, Menexenus, considering that I have an excellent mistress in the art of rhetoric, she who has made so many good speakers, and one who was the best among all the Hellenes, Pericles, the son of Xantippus. And who is she? I suppose you mean Aspasia. Oh, I know an Aspasia. Yes, I do. And beside her I had Conos, the son of Metrobius, as a master, and he was my master in music as she was in rhetoric. No wonder that a man who has received such an education should be a finished speaker. Even the pupil of a very inferior master, say for example, one who had learned music from Lamprus and rhetoric from Antiphon the Ramnusian, might make a figure if he were to praise the Athenians among the Athenians. I did not know that Socrates had this mistress and master. I did not know he had formal education in rhetoric. I've read this before, but still I didn't know it. And what would you be able to say if you had to speak? Of my own wit, most likely nothing, but yesterday I heard Aspasia composing a funeral oration about these very dead. For she had been told, as you were saying, that the Athenians were going to choose a speaker, and she repeated to me the sort of speech which he should deliver, partly improvising and partly from previous thought, putting together fragments of the funeral oration which Pericles spoke, and which, as I believe, she composed. It's so fascinating how Socrates seems to never actually take credit for anything that he says. When he speaks of love, he says it's Diotima that spoke, that he's just repeating Diotima's words. And now when he's giving this funeral oration, he's just repeating Aspasia, according to him. And can you remember what Aspasia said? He does have a very good memory, apparently. I ought to be able, for she taught me, and she was ready to strike me because I was always forgetting. Okay, apparently he doesn't have a good memory, but he has a good teacher. Yeah. It feels like this is a very young Socrates. Oh, maybe he was just playful as an old man as well. Then why will you not rehearse what she said? Because I'm afraid that my mistress may be angry with me if I publish her speech. Nay, Socrates, let us have the speech, whether Aspasia's or anyone else's, no matter. I hope that you will oblige me. But I am afraid that you will laugh at me if I continue the game of youth in old age. Oh, so he's old. He's an old man being very playful. For otherwise, Socrates, let us by all means have the speech. Okay, maybe we should leave the speech. It's a very long speech, indeed. But let's leave even the beginning of the speech for another day. I hope you have a beautiful day.